Cool. And all right, I'm gonna hang up. Okay. So text me if you need me on this phone. Bye. Well, it is 7:00, isn't it, Rob?
Dude, on the dot.
All right. Let's get this started. I am Dr.
like
Jim
it.
Sears down there. Actually, you're up there. You're north of me in Huntington, but on the screen, you're down there. This is Razor Rob McCullough, former MMA world champion, Muay Thai kickboxing champion, a guy that knows a little something about pain and taking the pain, but he's more than that. He's actually a member of the National Academy of Sports Medicine and a certified personal trainer and a fitness nutrition specialist. Awesome. Welcome, Rob.
Thank you.
I'm a pediatrician, board certified pediatrician, Dr. Jim Sears. I'm an author of quite a few books about nutrition and raising kids and healthy families, and former co-host of the Emmy Award winning medical talk show, The Doctor. So we got a whole hour of Q&As with Dr. Jim and Rob. We've got a bunch of questions already from you guys, and I think we'll probably be looking at the comments too to see what you guys want to know. So we're just gonna get started. Rob, what do you want to say?
I want to say thanks to everybody who logged in, who's asking questions, or who's just kind of checking it out. Appreciate you. I know this is a really strange time for all of us. Sitting around, trying to get some workouts in. Hopefully that's what you're trying to do. Hopefully connecting with family, but washing your hands and staying 6 feet apart from each other. I'm just excited about talking about CBD today. A lot of people always send me stuff when I post, and they ask, all kinds of crazy questions. And so today, and I always respond to it. It might take me a hot second, but I always do respond. So I'm excited that people are on here and they can bounce it off of you, Doc. You're awesome. So
Yeah, cool. Hey, I'm going to really quick mention anybody that's watching, we're going to have a little special going on. There's a code for the OC Farm CBD website. If anybody that's watching and uses this code, it's Sears Q&A, like Sears question and answer, but Q, the letter N is in November, A, Sears Q&A, and then you'll receive one of each flavor of the CBD hard candies when you order it on the OC Farm CBD store website. And so, hey, full-on bonus right there. Also, we've been running the buy one, get one special, I think, most of March, and we've had so many people love it and say how much it's helping them during this time. So we're actually going to extend that all the way through April. We even won, many customers have said just how much they appreciate getting that, the 2-for-1, buy one, get one. One of our customers even said she was recently laid off and uses the tincture regularly for sleep and anxiety, and the BOGO really, really helps. So we're going to keep that going. So, all right, well, let's get right to it. Let me find some of the questions. Here's one. What do the different strengths of CBD mean? Oh, I just got a text. I didn't see what it said, though. Darn it. Hey, you just texted me. Text me again. It's funny. It flashes up on my screen, then it's gone. Okay. What do the different strengths mean? With the tinctures, what's the difference between 500 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams? And what they're talking about is with the tincture, you can see it says 1,000 milligrams versus 500 milligrams. And what that is essentially the amount of CBD in the entire bottle. Hey, you got it too. What flavor is cookies and cream? By the way,
bro, the cookies and cream is really good.
Yeah,
it's really good.
If you have tried just the regular and kind of weren't too excited about the flavor, this cookies and cream is good. Even my teenager likes it. So, all right. So the difference between 500 and 1,000, essentially, the 500 is going to contain, for each dose, in the whole bottle, there's 30 mLs, and each dose is about 1 dropper is 1 ml. And so in the, I had this written? Oh, in the 500, each dropper full is going to be about 16 milligrams. And then in the 1,000, it's going to be double that. Okay, so essentially, the 1,000 bottle, you get twice as much CBD in the same amount. It's a little more expensive. Now, you ask me, why would you even buy the 500 then? Well, I think it's good if you're a smaller person and you're just starting out. Often that 16 milligrams is going to be a really good dose to start out with. So if you're not sure if you want to spend the money on 1,000 milligrams, then that 500 milligrams is a great way to get started. So that's the difference there. What looks like you want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask a question. It's one of the questions I always kind of get to, so I figured we throw it out. Is, hey, how much should I take? And then I always kind of go back to them. What are you taking it for, right? And then it's what's the delivery system you feel the most comfortable with, right? Sometimes it takes longer for the gummies or something you're going to eat to be able to hit your system,
right?
So I think the vape pen probably, but I don't know. You tell me. Going through your the cells in your mouth, perhaps, right? The tissue there, or the tinctures, right? And the tinctures, it took me a while to keep saying that, but this is the drops, right? The dropper.
Yep, the drop, the drops. So yeah, certainly the vape pen is going to be. Well, it's funny. It's my daughter texting me. The vape pen is probably the fastest delivery, and that's it gets absorbed into your system within just a few seconds. It's very, very fast. And we use that same sort of delivery system in other things. I mean, obviously nicotine with cigarettes, obviously it's maybe a bad example, but even in neonatal, tiny babies, sometimes if we have to deliver a medication to them very, very, very quickly, we'll actually put it right into their lungs because it's just absorb super, super fast. And then the next one would probably be the sublingual, the tincture, the drops. If you put them under your tongue in there and try to hold them in there, those get absorbed actually pretty quickly within just a few minutes. Now it's funny, whenever I try that, I end up just swallowing it anyways. But now if you ingest it, actually literally swallow, whether it's the candies. Now it's funny, the candies, the gummies, even the caramels. I don't know if you've tried the caramels yet. They taste really, really good. You're going to absorb some of it through your mouth, through those cells under your tongue and your cheeks and everything. And that's pretty quick. But then if you, a capsule, I know it's available in capsules now too. Those ingested, and actually that takes quite a bit longer. Many, many minutes, maybe even an hour or two to actually get into your system and start working. So that's one of the things. If somebody's using an edible, ingested version, they take it. 10 minutes later, like, I don't feel anything. Well, yeah. So they take another one, and kicks in, and it can take a while to kick in. So certainly, it's just something to keep in mind about how to do that.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Right. So that's the different strengths. How much should I take? You mentioned that, Rob. That's probably the big. How much do I take? And if you Google it, you'll see all these different answers. Here's a very, very, very easy way to remember it. Essentially, a half a milligram, 0.5 milligrams per pound per day. Okay, so for me, I'm $1.80. So 0.5, that'd be 90 milligrams a day, but then you want to divide that into 3 doses. So 90 divided by 3 is 30, about 30 milligrams for a guy my size per dose would be a good starting dose. Okay. Now somebody like my wife, who's quite a bit smaller, she started, this isn't her weight, but I'm picking like somebody that weighs 130 pounds. She'd kill me if I gave her her weight. But if you do the math, you're looking at about 22 milligrams per dose to start. A smaller, maybe a small teenager at 75 pounds would be about 12 milligrams. And even I've had some parents use it in smaller kids. Hey, buddy. Hey, I should ask you, actually, Rob, you probably use, I'm guessing you use CBD with your kids?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. They take it. Today we went for a bike ride, and my little one, well, he's 10, so he's still little to me, right? He's going to be taller than me soon. He's like, Dad, I'm getting tired. And I realized I had gears on my mountain bike, and he's just riding his little BMX bike. And we went for quite a trot, so I kind of felt bad for him. I was like, oh, buddy, here. So I had some dropped in my water. So I was like, here, drink some of this. So, I mean,
cool.
we don't pull with any chemicals, which makes me feel nice and comfortable because I do watch what my children eat. I do watch it. It was kind of an old habit, die hard kind of thing from competing for so long that I do watch and read the labels of what I put in myself. I don't drink soda and stuff like that. So I try to really kind of watch what my family eats. So
cool.
CBD products do definitely help alleviate a lot of, especially nowadays, right, where people are just kind of, oh God, I'm tired, I'm sore. I still work out pretty rigorously for a guy in his 40s. I enjoy doing this though, so it's hard to say, hey, I'm getting a little sore in my shoulders, or but the style that I do of training, swinging kettlebells and doing grappling and holding mitts for people, it can get a little bit of wear and tear. So I want to make sure that I got a solid pit crew, and that's part of CBD is my recovery.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's way better than some of the, pharmaceuticals that one might do. Now, really quick, I'm going to just kind of touch on some of the things that a lot of my friends or patients use it for. Insomnia, sleep problems, excuse me, epilepsy, that's a big one. And we'll go back and touch on these. Nausea, anxiety, stress, chronic pain is a big one. And then behavior issues. I got a lot of my patients, maybe that there's special needs like autism or other behavior issues, and they just kind of need a little bit of throttling back. And the CBD, a lot of the parents really have noticed a big difference. Now, I'm going to go back to dosing really quick. That 0.5 milligram per pound per day that I mentioned, that's a starting dose. It's a good starting dose. And if you're tolerating it and you're not getting maybe quite the effect that you want to maybe it's not helping as much as you want, you can actually easily just double it like that. You could even triple that. And up to, the nice thing, there's been a lot of studies, and especially in the studies in epilepsy, they've used actually pretty high doses, even up to, I'm trying to see, 3, 4, 5, 600 milligrams per day, even 1,000 milligrams a day. Now, some of the studies at 1,000 milligrams a day, that's a lot. They did experience some side effects. Now, those side effects were still probably less severe than some of the harsh pharmaceuticals that seizure medications that we're trying to get off. So, but certainly going up to even 5 milligrams per pound per day, which would be reasonable. And I've seen in some of the studies, even 600 milligrams, no reported side effects. I'm kind of looking at some of the studies, all the dosing ranges they used. Even 200-300 milligrams in seizures in adults, they saw a nice effect in decreasing the seizures, and still the CBD was well tolerated with not any significant side effects. So that's the nice thing about, I consider this kind of like a pharmaceutical, but with very, very concern for side effects. So, and it's funny, I actually learned a lot of this from my patients. I had patients come to me, hey, my daughter's been struggling with anxiety or sleep or something, and I've tried CBD. Is that okay? And I asked, are they not experiencing any side effects? And nope. I've literally, of all the people I've recommended it to, I've had one person experience a side effect, and that was a little bit of stomach upset, and she adjusted the dose a little bit, and now is side effect free. So I think there's a great therapeutic effect and very little side effect worry. So to me, it's a very, very safe alternative to use.
That to me is really important, because I think a lot of people don't understand too. They think that because it's CBD, it's a cannabinoid, that they're going to take it and then they're going to be high and they're going to have to buy tie-dye shirts and buy a VW van and follow the Grateful Dead. And so I'm like, no, you just have to get tie-dye shirts. That's what they don't understand. No, just kidding. The thing with CBD is it doesn't give you a head change, right? That's a whole other strain of the cannabinoids, and your system having that already to be able to onboard that kind of stuff. I think being super cool that you're a doctor. You're a pediatrician. My children go to your guys' practice as well. So I mean, just saying. I mean, I trust everything you're saying so much that I have my family go there. At the end of the day, too, I think a lot of people, the misconceptions that I get is, am I gonna fail a drug test if I go to work? I have a corporate job, and it's a lot of my friends that I grew up with that have legit, real big time jobs, and they're like, hey, if I got drug tested, I don't want to lose my job. And I'm like, no. The stuff that OC Farm uses, it's tested, right? It's ensuring that it's got 99.9% THC free. So at the end of the day, I think a lot of people, they want to try it, they're not quite sure, and then just how are they getting it, right? Some people freak out because they're like, I'm not smoking anything. Hey, I get it. You don't have to. You can use the drops, right? The tinctures. We just came out with these gummies, this is my favorite flavor, the sour apple ones. Yeah, super good. Super good. And those drops, the cookies and cream, that was my favorite. Yeah, those were kind of some of the questions that I was always getting. And then I know that someone referenced it before. If you're using the pen, for example, like I think it gets a little red light on it, and it says you hit it for 5 seconds and it lights up, and you get, I think it was 25 milligrams, and one of those 5-second ones. And then the drops, right? The drops is it the same 25 or 50, depending on which it is?
The drops, it's interesting that the entire dropper will be, depending on the strength, a full dropper will be 16 milligrams for the 500 or 33 milligrams for the 1,000. And then the pen, it's funny. Now, first off, I don't recommend the pen for kids, obviously.
Yeah, me neither.
It's funny. Yeah, with our teenager, we had her take the tincture or the gummies. We didn't even tell her there's a pen. She's like, some of my friends are vaping. We're like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope. No thanks. But and I would point out that these our pens, our vapes have 0 vitamin E oil in them, so that's important. So, but where were we going? Oh, so the vape pen dose tends to be between 4 and 6 in puffs, or shorter puffs. That's how I've always done it. Shorter puffs over 5-10 minutes. But yeah, I want to go back really quick to the safety, and there was something I wanted to mention. People often, one of the biggest benefits, I think, is hopefully with CBD, hopefully maybe helping to tackle the opioid crisis. And so many people strung out on pain pills and everything. You can get very good relief from CBD. Now, what's the difference is you can't really overdose on CBD. There really isn't a risk of overdosing. And there was a really cool study by the National Cancer Institute. They just kind of had a statement because a lot of cancer patients are in pain and they will use CBD. The cannabinoid receptors, unlike the opioid receptors, I don't know why I can't say opioid. It's not something pediatricians ever talk about. So,
that's probably
so it's a new word for me. The cannabinoid receptors are not located in the brainstem part of the brain that controls respiration, like opioid receptors are. So even if you accidentally took a whole bunch of CBD, it's not going to affect your respiration, and that's like as an opioid would, which that's what happens with an opioid overdose. Your
drugs you're breathing
goes away. You stop breathing, and so that's another thing. Now CBD will, if you're on other medications, usually there's very little interaction with other pharmaceuticals. However, if you're on certain medications that deal with the cytochrome P450 system, and anybody that hasn't taken a pharmacology class in medical school probably doesn't know what I'm talking about. But
you're talking about I passed that class.
Yeah, yeah. It does affect that, and certain seizure medications also use that same system. So if you're taking CBD and a seizure medication, which a lot of people are, you might need to adjust the dose of your seizure medication. So that's where it's important to talk to your doctor. So, anyways, it's all good stuff. I did get one question. I got a couple questions. I want to answer one question to start is has to do with using CBD. Is there any good studies showing CBD can help with inflammatory bowel disease, IBD? We're talking about Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Now, that's not irritable bowel syndrome. That's different. This is a much more severe, very inflammatory disease that people often end up needing surgery and very, very strong medications like Imuran and Remicade, steroids, things like that. Now, it's funny. I actually didn't know that. I don't really have any patients with IBD that take CBD, so I wasn't familiar. And it's so if you Google it, now here's the problem with Googling stuff: you'll find just about anything. You Google anything, and somebody has written a blog on that. But as a physician, when I Google stuff, I actually, and you guys can do this, if you really want to get good medical research papers on the subject you're looking for, Google PubMed, 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 and then what you're looking for. I Google PubMed, CBD, IBD. And then that takes you to the U.S. National Library of Medicine. It's part of the NIH, National Institutes of Health. And you won't get somebody's blog. You'll actually get medical papers that have been published in medical journals. And then you can really good information. And actually, there have been several studies on IBD, inflammatory bowel disease, with CBD. And these studies showed that the CBD seemed to actually wrote this down. So, seemed to have a similar effect as an immune modulator, but they did find that the CBD helped with the symptoms, the subjective symptoms, the pain, the discomfort, but it didn't really help with the actual disease process, as in what you would see on a biopsy of the intestine. So. That was kind of an early study, and I'm sure there'll be more information on it. So essentially, if you have severe IBD, you can't just stop your medication and go on CBD. But taking CBD will help a little bit with how you feel. So that's I think a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. To me, that's something that's really important. Is as a professional athlete, as a guy who spent my life loving PE class in school, and I loved hanging out at the gym, and eventually got a job teaching at the gym. I saw a lot of my friends and the guys who I trained with sustain injuries in practice or out when it's time to actually make money. And the one unfortunate thing, and I'd say the demise of a lot of professional athletes, is they start taking, hey, this really hurts. The doctor says, hey, here you go. Here's some opioids. Here's some pain medicine to stop it, to stop the pain, but doesn't really, right? And the next thing you know, they're chasing that pain feeling because it gave them that high that unfortunately they got from competition. And now you don't see them at practice anymore, and you're not seeing them where were they at in the big stage. And unfortunately, that's why it's become an epidemic. And it's really with a lot of professional athletes that I see, people that's like, oh, wow, whatever happened to that guy? It's like, I don't know. And then you kind of hear the backstory and you go, wow, that's sad. That sucks. So when I had my first conversation with OC Farm, that was kind of where I came from. I did break my hand a few times. I went down that path of, hey, let's load you up on a bunch of pain meds. And I remember telling the guy, I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, I know it's broken, but it doesn't. I have a different pain threshold than I think most people fighting for a living. Sure. But that was one thing that, wow, you start doing that, and the next thing you're like, oh gosh, the CBD, taking that before workout kind of helps me focus more, especially with technical stuff, right? Maybe not necessarily a strength and conditioning day. That would be more so like afterwards. I would have taken that to make sure that I wasn't getting the DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, as bad. That with foam rolling and drinking a lot of water or massage. But if I was going to, like, say, a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practice and I was going to be focusing on a lot of technical stuff that day, I would do the pen in the car on the way there, and almost felt like I was Snoop Dogg, because I had a pen, but it was just CBD. And I'd get out of my car and the door would open and it'd be looking funny. What are we doing there? Oh, never mind. But I felt very focused.
Yeah.
And that was kind of interesting because years of practice, the one thing, my specialty was punching and kicking. I really enjoyed doing that. The grappling part, I just did that enough to get away so I could punch and kick. And then when I really just started it, hey, I'm going to get good at being offensive with my jiu-jitsu, I had to be more technical. And I realized, right, people learn in multiple ways. They see stuff, they got to hear stuff. Kinesthetically, they're going to have to move and feel it. And I realized, wow, I need to use a lot of those, not just one. I'm not like this super bright guy when it comes to that piece of it as a student. So the CBD I felt helped me kind of nail that down. I just started that within the last, I'd say 2 years. Oh, yeah. And so that was really cool. That was the pen that I would use. And then the times that I would feel really sore after practice, I'd use the droppers, right? The tinctures, and I'd do that. Cool. Dosage is different, right? I'm about 183 pounds right now. So it depends, right, on how you are. Again, everybody's going to be, I would say, a little subjective on the dosage, but I would always say probably a lot better to start with a little bit lower and then see how you add up to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
I see there's questions on here too, Doc, and I don't want people to think we're leaving them hanging.
Oh, yeah.
You want me to throw some out to you?
Yeah, actually, I think I see some right now. Somebody's asking, do products have THC or is it just CBD?
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Now, our CBD products are 99.9% THC free. They're non-GMO, they're gluten free. They're grown in the U.S. from hemp, and so now OC Farm, you can find THC products on like a separate website that you can't really get
on the dark web
access to, but so you can get both. But I as a physician don't really recommend that. But it did remind me of something. I wanted to use. You mentioned, are we new? What do you recommend for joint pain, arthritis, inflammation? That's great. And that's probably, arthritis inflammation is probably one of the biggest uses of CBD, I think, in terms of what's science-based. You can think of CBD as it does affect the parts of the immune system, the inflammatory system. Your immune system is a very complex system, and part of it fights infections. Part of it deals with inflammation. And that inflammatory part is what leads to sore muscles, sore joints, arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, even. And the CBD can have a very, very good effect on a lot of that stuff. And I think it's anybody with arthritis, especially if I think taking CBD regularly would be way safer than taking a pharmaceutical. So I think it's great for arthritis, pain, sore muscles. There's another question. You've addressed the sore muscles after a workout. There was one question that actually, does it have antibacterial properties? And at first I saw the question in my head. I'm like, no way. I'm sure it doesn't. But I PubMed Googled it and believe it or not, there's actually been a lot of studies showing some antibacterial properties to it. Now, we haven't really figured out how to use that instead of an antibiotic if you have an infection, but certainly there's some interesting tendonitis. Yeah, somebody's asking about tendonitis. For sure. Our teenager has a little bit of a bursitis in her knee, which is kind of like a tendonitis, fluid on the knee. I'm sure you had that many, many times, Rob, in your
a few times
in your fighting days. And this is a great, safer alternative than to taking non-steroidals or things like that. So you mentioned focus. That's what it was. You mentioned focus earlier, and a lot of my parents have reported, and here's a question right here. My son has a hard time focusing and has been diagnosed with ADHD. I don't want to put him on Adderall. Can CBD help? And it's funny, I've actually have quite a few patients with ADD, ADHD, learning, attention issues, and the parents have tried it because they didn't want to put them on the stimulants, which is essentially speed, and they've actually noticed a big, big difference. And I think why that works in many, many kids and teenagers and adults is a lot of ADHD, ADD has a major anxiety component to it, and so the CBD kind of helps calm that a little bit and just helps bring down that anxiety and can help increase focus. So I highly recommend if if you're thinking, you know, you
Nice.
want to try something instead of the Adderall, give it a shot.
Yeah, because I mean, if you start really thinking about what that is, and I'm not saying to go against what your doctor would prescribe to you, but if you haven't given it an alternative of, hey, do I want to put my son or my daughter or my little one on a medication that's technically right on the street, it's a meth, right? So, hey, try something before you do that, because at the end of the day, I mean, science is, hey, what can you use? What can we use that we fall through the okay, that's not it. So it's trial and error, right? And again, like we're kind of talking about, if you Google stuff, man, it depends on, and then it depending on where you're Googling it from. If you're using Google or whatever browser you're using, they can throw you into, a tailspin, right? Just use politics, for example. If you look at something and let's say it's the Democratic Party, and you'll start to see ads and a lot of other stuff on there, and you're like, oh, wow, that's crazy. It seems like that's how the world's going, but it's because of the way your system is set up. So same thing, if you put in, is it bad for you? Then you're going to get all these articles. So you were saying that, what was the website again?
PubMed. It's not a website. Essentially but if you just, in your Google search, PUB, like public, med, MED, pub, one word, PubMed, and then your search, PubMed, CBD, joint pain or whatever, and you will find medical studies, not somebody's blog. So that's, and that you could do that for anything, PubMed, COVID-19, and you'll get somebody, some actual medical studies, and that's such a trick we use, because when I Google, just plain Google, you'll get somebody somewhere has written a blog on something. So
I'll use this for an example, which is extremely let's just say Google had a hand wrap your hand for a fight, for MMA hand wrap. There will be thousands. There will be videos with kids who have posted it, who've never had a fight in their day, who watched another video of someone else, and they're showing people, and there's a lot of views. And I'm like, how does that person know if that they don't? They're not battle tested. They haven't actually put that on and used it. And it's like, there's a lot of, in the information age, it's really easy to be deceived, unfortunately, now, because there's so much information, it becomes overwhelming. So that really cool, that I'm excited that Dr. Sears, you're on this. I'm excited that we get a cool platform and a bunch of people that are asking awesome questions about CBD and how we can actually help with it. Plus, they're getting that. I had someone that tell me what BOGO was. Buy one, get one. I didn't know.
What is a BOGO?
What is BOGO? Who is this BOGO? That's super cool that we're offering that, because that gets this product into people's hands and they can use it, and they realize that, hey, we understand right now. Hey, there's a lot of layoffs. Trust me, I know. Right?
Yeah.
We're in when people say, hey, worst case scenario, this is it. This is right now. It's worst case scenario. So what are we doing? Hopefully you're keeping your head right. Hopefully you're getting some exercise, and I hate to use that word diet. I want to say nutrition is on point. But if you're feeling a little jittery, if you're feeling like I'm getting sore from doing some crazy home workouts, hey, use some CBD products. I mean, we're doing buy one, get one free right now too. So that's kind of a cool part. We have delicious new flavors and the droppers. I like to call them droppers because tinctures, and people are like, tincture. Yeah. I feel like if I'm going to say tincture, I need a little eye spectacle, like the peanut. Hello. And I got to talk like with that English accent. I'm just super excited. I'd love to say on here, Jeff Perez, what's up? Tony Riccardi, I know you definitely need help. Jeff was asking, what do you recommend for lower back pain for a photographer?
Ooh, yeah. Well, first off, better posture. How about, huh?
Yeah.
But that's interesting. That reminds me of a story, and I'll get back. I was in an Uber it was back last summer, which doesn't last summer feel like forever ago? But
5 years ago seems like yesterday. So I'm like, God, this is what happens? Oh man.
Yeah. But we're going along, and he figured out I was a physician, so he's asking me about his son, and his son was a teenager athlete and had needed a couple back surgeries, and was just having terrible back pain, and was on these super strong medications, so strong they couldn't even go to school. And in my head, I'm like, man, I wonder if this teenager has tried CBD. But the guy's going on and on about his son, surgery after surgery. And finally he said, and you know what? Finally, like a month ago, he tried some CBD, and that made him feel so much better than the opioids that he was taking. And I'm like, great! I didn't even have to tell him to try it. And he, so I, that's, I think, that chronic back pain, the lower back pain, that kind of stuff. That's often the perfect type of situation to try CBD, because first off, there's really no downsides. Like I said earlier, I've had one single patient complain of a very mild side effect, a little tummy discomfort. So, none of those other severe side effects that can happen with significant, with those strong anti-inflammatory medications, steroids sometimes, things like that. So certainly low back pain, that's almost like a no-brainer. So, hey, let me give you that code. I gave it at the beginning, but anybody that's joined on, anybody that's watching, and if you go to the OC Farm CBD store, OC Farm store, Sears QNA, SEARS Q, the letter NA, QNA, and you'll get one flavor of each CBD hard candy. So hey, that's pretty cool, and you can try them. All right, let me see if there's other questions.
I see one from Poppy G FunFit. How you doing, Poppy G FunFit? How long after working out should you wait before taking CBD? Hey, that's a great question. I would say I want to get it into my system prior to me getting too warped of a workout, right? Depending on really what you're doing, right? Am I doing strength and conditioning? Am I going heavy? Am I doing cardiovascular working out? Is it a technical thing? Did I take damage in a workout, right? There was a heavy wrestling day or grappling day, or we're punching and kicking each other and my leg is sore. Hey, I would put some of those drops, those transfer drops, into my post-workout recovery shake, or even some of the isolate in there, and then you mix it up and you can drink it. It gets into your system pretty quickly. If post-workout too, I'm going to try to get like 20 grams of protein into me, just so my body's not breaking down. A lot of people, too, don't understand it. If they're into weight loss, they're trying to lean out before summer gets here, right? Because it's right around the corner. And they start thinking to themselves, well, what should I do? I just won't eat. And I'm like, no, that's horrible. That's bad advice. You got to get with somebody who knows what they're doing. You actually want to make sure you're drinking a protein supplement. I like to mix mine with water, unless I'm in a bulking phase, we'll say. Then I mix it with some coconut milk or almond milk, and maybe put a banana in it. So it depends on what your goals are and what you're looking for. But the CBD, to me, if I'm killing workouts, I want to get it in as soon as I'm finished, and that could be my post-workout shake. So Poppy G FunFit, I know you got some cool digital stuff going on. I look forward to putting out some workouts with you. That's going to be super exciting. We can incorporate some CBD post-workout and pre-workout CBD.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with you. I think post-workout soreness, that inflammation, that kicks in almost immediately. So the sooner you can get something in to help quell that. Back when I was training for an Ironman, this was now 13 years ago, I would be pretty darn sore afterwards, and I would go jump in my pool. I wouldn't jump in, but I would get all the way down to get my knees into the cold pool I was working out during the winter, just to get that, start bringing that inflammation down. So anything you can do immediately, like some drops of CBD, is a great thing to do after a workout to prevent that soreness. Because,
it's funny. Go ahead. No, go ahead, Doc. Go ahead.
Because if you're not sore, the next day you can go hard again, right?
Yes, exactly. I was going to say that. Being a coach on The Ultimate Fighter, that TV show, I've done that twice. And on season 14, we brought in, actually, I think we did it on season 11 too. But season 14, I remember the guys that kept getting into the ice tub, right? And they're like, well, do you have like a jacuzzi thing that we can, and they're like, no. And one of the guys said, hey man, I need a trash can because we're going to fill it up with cold water and ice. So almost nobody did it. And this one kid kept doing it after every practice. That kid was TJ Dillashaw. And that kid ended up becoming a champion. So, hey, if I'm trying to follow the recipe on how to do this, recovery is a giant portion of any kind of training program. And I say training because some people are going to tune out and go, I'm not a fighter and never want to get punched in the face. Cool, but if you're trying to do performance stuff because you got little kids and you want to play with them when you're older and they're older, then your recovery, like you just said, Doc, if I'm killing workouts and I can't get back in the gym because I'm so sore, because I'm not eating enough, because I'm not stretching, I'm not foam rolling, I'm not drinking enough water, I'm not listening to my body, then yeah, you're going to end up, right? Your body's going to end up paying the price for that. So CBD, I found for myself personally as an athlete, it's done wonders for me, which is pretty cool. Honestly, right now my left shoulder's been bugging me, and I thought first it was like from sticking it under my wife when I sleep, but she's not that big, so I think it's from showing some wrestling moves, and it's been the last few weeks without really warming up and just going right into it.
Yeah.
And probably being in my 40s, so I've been using
it's called getting old.
I'm not there yet. I can't say it. To me, that seems like an excuse. I'm like, I can't. No.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think we're actually getting to the end of our little live thing here. I think we've gone through all the questions that we've gotten.
I saw one from Go to Yoga. I like that. It's pretty funny. She asked, what are the studies on CBD for inflammation and autoimmune disorders?
Autoimmune disorders. Interesting. Well, let's see. Believe it or not, the what we touched on earlier, the IBD, the Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, those are actually part of autoimmune. The rheumatoid arthritis, that is another autoimmune condition, and those are almost some of the perfect examples of a disease process that can be that CBD can be a part of treatment, and just because it tends to hit those all those biochemicals like the cytokines and things like that deal with inflammation that tend to hit your joints or your tissues, depending on what problem we're talking about. So a lot of people have had reports of being helped with CBD. You mentioned you're talking about your shoulder. I don't know if anybody's tried the taking the isolate and adding some oil to it and making a little rub. And just rubbing it on the joint itself, and then it gets absorbed through the skin. And that's a nice way of doing it, targeting. If you just have a single joint, like a sore knee, sore shoulder, sore finger, something like that, you can target just those tissues with the CBD isolate.
Nice. I'm gonna try that.
Ointment. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah, I've been killing it with the Hyper Ice Volt. It's like that gun percussion therapy. Man, those things are amazing. So I've been doing that a lot and make sure I drink a lot of water. And then I've been using like a broom handle to warm up my shoulders. So that's definitely helped it a little bit in this ensuring that I'm taking CBD. I get up in the morning, I go do some privates, and I get some training in. I'll do some of the drops. I do probably 2 full droppers. Let's see, which one do I have right now that I have? This one is the 1,000 milligram. My favorite flavor is the cookies and cream. There's like banana, and I'm trying to remember what the other flavor was, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. I see a question there from, looks like John and JJ. Coconut oil with the isolate? Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I took the little jar of isolate. I don't think I have any right here, but this tiny little jar with powder, just isolated CBD powder, and I added some liquid coconut oil, and just stir it up really good, and then I actually put it in the fridge to make it solid, and then just kind of put some of my finger and rub it on where it needs to be, and it works really well that way. So cool. All right. Well, if we don't got any more questions,
I see a few on here. Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see. So coconut with the isolate. Yes, that's something great for, like you're saying, to put on almost like a lotion, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I just want to say thanks to everybody who jumped on here and was asking questions. Do we have alternatives to standard protocols? Would love to try this to help elbow tendonitis. I'm getting that a lot, the tendonitis thing from people. Gosh, what else? I wrapped your hands. Thanks, Rich Torres. You're the man. Hope it was a good hand wrap. Can CBD counteract the paranoia effect of THC? I don't know. Maybe we should take it easy on the THC.
Yeah.
Ryan. CBD is not strong enough. What's the best milligrams for tendinitis?
Tendinitis. No. I want to come back to because I saw a question that said, "What sort of dose for anxiety for the calming effect?" It's interesting. That's actually in all the studies that I've looked at, the lower doses do tend to help the anxiety and calming versus, if you're dealing with chronic pain, your surgery, that kind of stuff, you're going to need higher doses. But I've seen smaller doses, just that 0.5 milligram per pound of body weight per day divided by 3 in 3 different doses. Just that, that's going to be maybe 20 milligrams a day, a dose times 3. Those smaller doses actually can have a nice calming effect. Okay, but the tendinitis, like we've said over and over, any itis, tendinitis,
the itis,
arthritis, those are some of the perfect problems to try CBD with, because it's I think the CBD is so much safer than those harsh pharmaceuticals can be.
Amen. So, do you see that one about does CBD help with premenopausal symptoms? If so, what specifically would you recommend?
Premenopausal. I don't have any pediatric patients that do premenopausal. No. But certainly, I'm just trying to, I haven't thought of that before. With the hot flashes and your system's changing, the hormones, certainly it's going to have a calming effect. And like I said before, it's not going to hurt. It doesn't hurt to try it.
Yeah.
So, I highly recommend trying it. And hey, try it. And if you see a good effect, tell you what, maybe Rob, you talk, and I will actually PubMed Google this.
Oh, cool. Perfect. I'll follow up on that one. The one about the premenopausal, I wouldn't know about premenopausal. However, I kind of would, because I got 6 sisters and my mom. But at the end of the day, one thing I've noticed is, hey, if I was going to go buy a car and someone told me it's a really good car, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna look at the car. I'm gonna pop the hood. I'm gonna kick the tires. I'm gonna ask to start the car, and I'm gonna drive the car. And it could be the coolest car ever, but if I don't like the way it drives, or maybe this is the way that I feel inside the seat, I'm not gonna get the car. So the same thing. If you've got questions about this and you're not quite sure, you're kind of on the fence, get ordered. You got buy one, get one free right now. Check it out. And then, hey, if it's not your thing, then you could pass it off to one of your friends. But I'm telling you, there's no harm, no foul in this. If you have questions and you've got things that you want to help with a healthy alternative, a natural, organic thing, try CBD. Try OC Farm stuff, because it's tested. It's THC 99.9% free. And at the end of the day, you're not using any harsh chemicals, non-GMO, to pull that stuff, which when you get stuff that's from other companies that they're using it, if they've got really cool marketing materials and they're doing all this really amazing stuff, they're probably spending all the money on the marketing materials and not on the actual products. So you got to be kind of careful with that. Mm-hmm. What did you find, Doc?
Well, interesting. This is a good example. I actually didn't find any studies on that particular. Now, of course, underneath the medical studies, just regular Google kicked in, and sure, yeah, there's a bunch of blogs about CBD helping menopause symptoms and whatnot. So I guess the answer to that is going to be where I'm not really sure. Okay, there's a doctor saying I'm just not exactly sure, but like I said, doesn't hurt to try it.
Yeah, definitely. So, definitely, I would agree on that one. If you no harm, no foul, right? It's not like, oh, I tried it, now I'm addicted to crack. And if you try it, try it, and you're like, hey, I didn't really know, then maybe you can change the dosage and you kind of play with the dosage. And then, hey, did I eat food before the dosage? Because maybe that absorption was a little different, right? Well, my friend said they only did 1 drop and they didn't feel good. Well, how much does your friend weigh? What was your friend taking it for? And were they taking medicine? Were they on something? So at the end of the day, those are a lot of questions you still got to be able to figure out. And again, trying it yourself. And if you got buy one, get one free right now, you got some new stuff. So I know a lot of my friends are like, I don't smoke pens. I'm not into that kind of stuff. I'm not, I know weed's legal, and I'm like, no, you're not buying CBD to get high. They don't understand that part of it. Yeah. It's an organic, natural remedy to a lot of stuff that's going to help them with things that potentially could be really harmful. If I'm looking at like, hey, this could be really good for me, but here's the pros and the cons to it. That's kind of how I like to look at stuff. If the cons start to outweigh the pros, it's like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Well, especially if I'm talking about my children or my family or a loved one. So.
Yep, for sure. All right. Well, I think this is it. I'm looking outside. It's dark. I was going to try to show you guys the sunset, but I didn't want to turn my camera around. But I guess I'm just going to say, hey, this has been a great live. Maybe we'll do this again sometime soon. And don't forget to go to ocfarmstore.com and use our buy one, get one free all through April. And then today, if you want some a free flavor of each part, one of each flavor of the hard candies, put in the code Sears QNA. The letters Q, N as in November, and A. And you'll get that little extra bonus. So I hope everybody has a nice rest of the Saturday night. Not like we're going out and going anywhere.
I was just going to say, every day's been Saturday for the last month. Help!
I know. Man, I cannot wait to get out of here and have a great. Can you imagine what life is going to be like when everything opens back up and one big party?
Man, I'm ready for it. I'll be honest, I'm ready for it. But I'm enjoying the time with the family. I'm enjoying the. I'm going to come out of this like it's a fight camp because I mean that's the I'm approaching it. I'm going to come out of this ripped and definitely not sore because I've been using CBD and stretching and foam rolling really well. So. This is awesome.
Do you have a code too?
I know that I have a code. It's Razor10, RAZOR 10, and Razor 10 gets you 10% off on OC Farm, and you can go to ocfarmstore.com. That gets you right there to it, and that will get you. You can see the new products. There is the buy one get one right now. What was yours is Sears, right?
Sears QNA.
Sears, SEARS, Q, the letter N, and that will get you hooked up to at OC Farm. I know a lot of us are, waiting around trying to make some money, waiting around because we're like, we either got furloughed, we got terminated, or we're just sitting around and our business has been really slow because people are really unsure. So, hey, we get you. We understand. We're all part of the working force here. So we're offering and extending that cool complimentary discount to you guys. So hopefully you can get this product in your hand and use it, or help somebody use it. Right? I've seen a lot of really cool studies too that people are putting out there about the usage of it. So we'd love to hear the next one we do this about people's. Hey, what are you doing? What do you use it for?
Yeah.
What's your favorite flavor? Oh,
cool. All right, guys. Well, let's call it. Let's say goodnight, and we will talk to you guys later.
Awesome.
Dr. Jim Sears for Razor Rob McCullough and the world champion. A bad. I can't say the word.
We can say everything is awesome.
An awesome dude. All right. Cool. All right, guys. Cool. See ya.
Thanks, Doc. You're the man, bro.
All right. Bye.
See ya.